In this video, I'm going to be doing some macro photography on this beach right here with my Nikon Z50II and the TTArtisan f2.8 2x macro lens. I really am so blessed to live in such a beautiful part of the world. Australia has some of the most beautiful beaches in the world, and this one is no exception. The other day when I was walking along it, I could see all these little tiny creatures in the sand, and I was thinking, what would it be like getting the macro lens onto this Z52 and getting some shots? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my way along this beach. I've got my tripod just sitting over there. And I'm going to get some shots of all the little tiny creatures and, other objects I find. I began my journey along the beach, heading towards the lighthouse at the end. One thing that caught my attention immediately was the amount of dead bluebottles laying sprawled in clumps all over the beach. These bluebottles aren't venomous, but they certainly give a painful sting if you're swimming in the water and come into contact with them. When bluebottles are in such large numbers like this, patrolling surf lifesavers normally close the beach to swimmers for safety. On closer inspection with my Z52 macro setup, you can see these bluebottle structure. They look like something out of the Alien movie. While I had this set up, I noticed little bits of sand being flung out from underneath this clump of dead bluebottles. When I looked closer, I found this tiny sand crab measuring under 1 centimeter, and it had cleverly used these dead bluebottles for shelter. The little crab kept darting in and out underneath these dead bluebottles, so we played a little bit of peekaboo for a while until I was able to nail this shot of it looking straight towards the lens. There must have been something happening on this day, as there weren't only dead bluebottles washed up on the beach, but also a heap of dead jellyfish. When you look closer into these amazing creatures through their opaque outer surface, you can see the intricate inner details. Some of these macro shots I ended up getting remind me of satellite photos looking down into volcanoes from space. Now this is weird. I stumbled across an old rotting coconut palm tree that appears to have been at sea for some time, given it was covered in barnacles on each end. Let me tell you something, the stench out of this rotting plant was really horrendous, so I got these shots pretty quickly of the barnacles at the end of the trunk before moving on. I turned my attention to the colourful dunes at the top of the beach. One thing that surprised me was just how diverse the colours of the flowers were. This shot, for example, at the centre of a flower kind of looks like it's got its own microforest within the petal surrounds. It's truly remarkable when you look at these flowers with a macro lens. Their different shapes, patterns and structure is just so beautiful. I was actually in the right place at the right time for this particular shot. I was actually photographing the vein structure on these leaves when a tiny fly with a bright turquoise body and pink wings landed, creating a shadow on the leaf. Coming towards the end of the beach lay this rocky headland. It was here I found a different set of creatures compared to the sand. Things like these barnacles attached to the rocks. These are a delicacy for the local sooty oystercatcher birds, who use their strong beaks to break these barnacles off and feast on the tasty bits underneath. Small hermit crabs also use these rock pools as their home to feed on microscopic food. So the next time you head out to the beach with your camera, maybe take a moment to look closer to see what you find under your feet in the sand. Everything from unique patterns to tiny creatures that make the beach their home. You might just be surprised at what you find.
Well guys, I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you so much for watching the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. You know, it's just amazing what you can see so close up on those little tiny creatures on the beach. My favorite shot was that little tiny crab that made that home underneath that nest of dead bluebottles. Just amazing. Anyway, if you want to see a more detailed review of this lens, I'll leave that for you right here. Well guys, as I always say, never stop creating. Go and grab your camera, go and have some fun, and I'll see you next time.